Welcome to episode 81 of the ABC and GCI Coffee Break Podcast. This is take number 2. So we'd like to welcome our sponsors, Plumhouse. Plumhouse is our presenting sponsor, and Plumhouse has been around since 1973, and they are a family-run, open-shop general contractor specializing in multifamily construction. They believe in the merit shop philosophy and have a strong commitment to the safety and well-being of our employees. And we cannot forget about our lightning round sponsor, Pro Park Cleaning Services. They are also a family-owned business with over 15 years experience in the cleaning industry and services the Merrimack Valley, Boston, Mass, and Rockingham County, which is Southern New Hampshire. They are committed to exceeding their expectations and understand that every space is unique, tailoring the cleaning needs to meet client specific needs. If you need them to reach out to them or you want to talk to them about cleaning your office or your house or your space, you can reach out to proparkcleaning.com or proparkcleaning@gmail.com. If you haven't figured this out already, I am not Allison Jackson. I am Mike Maloney. Allison Jackson's still on vacation, and I'm here with Kayla Rodriguez Santiago. Kayla, how are we doing this heat?
I'm all right. Can you tell I'm so sad Allison isn't here? I'm crying.
I'm with you.
I'm just kidding. Allison, we miss you. We hope to see you back here soon, but I know you're enjoying yourself. Like, do what you're doing. I don't know what happened with my eye. I got something in my eye, and I'm just
maybe it's frost. It's a little chilly in the office. She's in the office. Could be a piece of frost. Get stuck in her eye. I'm at home, and it is a sweltering 90-something degrees. No heat, no AC in the house today, so it is a hot one. This week's wacky wild news, and I know that Kayla's going to Florida next week, is a man in southern Florida in the Everglades has pulled out a record-breaking Burmese python out of the Everglades that's 19 feet long.
Wow.
Kayla, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I thought gators were scary. Pythons, especially that big, I don't know. I don't know about that. I love Florida and I love the heat, but anything that's like a reptile, I'm a little nervous about. Anything that has scales, I don't know about that.
Don't trust it. It doesn't have any arms, right?
Nope.
19 feet, 125 pounds, right? They said it was like 18 eggs inside of it. Took a couple of guys to wrestle it out. It was, killed. But for those that don't know, they are non-venomous and they are an invasive species in Florida and they're in the Everglades. They believe sometime a couple of years ago, whatever, that someone put a Burmese python on there to get rid of a pet, and they've just taken over the place. There's like they eat mammals, birds, alligators, and there's very few natural predators. So Kayla, when you're on your way down to Florida, watch where you're stepping because we don't want you to get swallowed up by a 19-foot.
He said can't trust anything that doesn't have arms. Can't trust anything that can't give you a hug.
Yep, that's right. That's a good quote to take away with. This week's guest is a friend of mine, Shawn Shepheard. He is a business coach and does some coaching for family businesses. It was great talking to him. Found him on LinkedIn. He does a lot of stuff with some Massachusetts-based companies. And now we'll hear from him. Shepheard. Shawn, welcome to the podcast. And for those that are just joining us here, and Shawn told me this before we even started, that he is from Canada, which is wonderful, but he is a Bruins fan. So we have connected on that piece. And I meant to ask this before, was when did you become a Bruins fan? What did it for you? What made you want to become a Bruins fan?
So I do live in Toronto, which is I'm not popular with my friends here because the Bruins have beaten the Leafs fans' hearts many times. I was a Bruins fan since I was like 5 or 6 years old. My oldest brother, and I'm dating myself here, that was like the end of the Bobby Orr era. I was growing up, I had a Ray Bourque jersey. And going to school in Canada with a Bruins jersey, I wasn't very popular, but I've always been a lifelong Bruins fan. I just love the culture and the way they play and the team. And every year I go and see them. I've seen the Bruins in, I think, 12 different cities. And that was my initial connection to Boston, was the Bruins.
It's funny how that is, right? How sports can tie someone together, right? And it's much like being like the Yankees fans in Boston are treated pretty poorly, right? If you're a Yankees fan and you're living in Boston, I feel bad. Sometimes we'll have a student show up with Yankees and I go, "What are you doing with that hat on? Get out of here with that hat on!" Like, you're a Yankees fan living around here. But so those that don't know who Shawn Shepheard is, and I found him through the power of LinkedIn. He is an executive coach and business strategist and keynote speaker, and what he is known for and done great with is helping and working with family-owned businesses who've already experienced a great amount of success and want to take their business to the next level without working 24/7. a lot of our ABC members are family businesses and could probably use, would probably like to listen to Shawn. And he's got a very long track record of success working with entrepreneurs across North America. Many of his clients think of him as their private Sherpa in their corner and helping them reach new heights. So, Shawn, tell us a bit about yourself and how you came to do what you're doing.
Yeah, so I grew up in an entrepreneurial household. Our family had a sporting good business growing up, and I know all the good and the not so good and the struggles. And I lived through it. That was my childhood. My first jobs was a sporting goods store, so I was in there, learned how to sharpen skates and take the cash at the surprise, it was mostly hockey, but I knew all the good and the bad of entrepreneurship and the struggles, and to see my parents trying to figure out how to pay for everything or make payroll. And I always had a love of speaking and coaching and leading workshops. So about 26 years ago now, man, that sounds like a long time.
You don't look anywhere near. You've been around for 26 years. Jeez.
Yeah, I'm Benjamin Buttons, I guess. But I went out on my own and started my own coaching and speaking business. And I just really thought that, we only get one life to live, and I want to do things that I love and want to help other people. And I know that sounds really cliche, but went out on my own 26 years ago, was scared and nervous, but thought that there's something to this. And I strongly believe in coaching. The early part of my career was mostly helping big international brands and companies. And I really loved the experience that I got with that. But there was always something inside saying, there's more, because I was frustrated with bureaucracy, with politics, all of that. And I remember Michael speaking at an event in 2011 in San Francisco, and walking off the stage there, and a New York Times bestselling author who I have a ton of respect for. She came over and said, like, excellent job. And I asked her for advice, and her one piece of advice was, don't change who you are, just change your audience. And the corporate audience isn't for you. And it was funny because I couldn't sleep that night in the hotel, because I was like, she's bang on, but I didn't know how to get started. And now I fast forward, and, it might have taken me 20 years, but I found my home in working with family-owned business owners, the people that have the courage to open their own business and bet on themselves, and that are honest about the struggles that they go through and the hardships. But it took me a long journey, but that's who I work with. And that's the only group that I work with now, is family-owned business owners.
Before we started recording, I talked to Shawn about some of the things I've done, and I've worked for some small business, family-run businesses. And I know some of the challenges I had. What is like the biggest challenge, when you have a family-run business? Let's say it's been doing it for 30 years, let's say, and how do you get that family to understand that what you're trying to teach them is worth it? The buy-in. How do you get the buy-in?
Yeah, I think it's, for me, I wouldn't even call it the buy-in, because they usually call me first, because they usually hit a point where they're working so hard, and all the things that made them be in business for 10 or 20 or 15 years, the courage to do it, the willingness to do whatever it takes, to work 7 days a week, there's no job beneath them. That ambition actually starts working against you at a certain level.
Amen.
Because, in the words of Marshall Goldsmith, what got you here won't get you there. And there's a point that we hit that ceiling, but we don't know what to do. That's all. And Michael, that's their whole life. It's so personal to them. And usually when they call, they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know anything about coaching. I don't know. But my friend that runs a family-owned business said, just call them. And they usually get to the point where there's health challenges. Maybe there's challenges at home. Maybe they've just missed too many of their kids' little league baseball games. Maybe they're even when they're at home, they're not at home, they're on their phone, and how, or they go to the restaurant with their family and they're sneaking off to the restroom to check at their phone. So it's way beyond like just the dollars and cents, but they don't know what to do. They have the hard work, but they have too many nights where they get home at the end of the day and they work their butts off, but they don't know if they move the needle. And that is heartbreaking.
And prior to us hitting record again, you've got some great ideas for 3 things that the small business owners, family-owned business can do right away. And what are those? What's like start number 3? What's the number 3, you think?
So there's 3 things that the owners and their leadership team I strongly suggest to play at the peak level of always growing without burning out. There's 3 things, and then I'll end with the one thing that they could take action on right now. So number 1 is they need accountability or coaching. And yeah, surprise, surprise, a coach says coaching. But I would never hire a coach that doesn't have a coach. I have 2 coaches personally right now. I've had coaches for the last 15 years. I wouldn't still be in business. Even if it's not a coach, somebody that they're accountable to. Because usually when you're at the top of the mountain, you're the owner, your name is on the building.
Right.
Who's going to keep you accountable? And who's going to have the courage to say, hey, maybe you're not the best at that, or hey, maybe you have some blind spots. So accountability and coaching is one that is golden with anybody in life that's playing at the highest level. Yeah, I know in Boston, Tom Brady is a kind of bit of a hero. How many coaches do you think Tom Brady has? Right?
Oh, yeah, dozens, right? I mean, even like think about Bill Belichick. Does Bill Belichick have a coach? Right? Yeah. I mean, Brady has a coach for everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the health, the eating, not just the
right.
15 coaches on the sideline. So the number 1 is coaching and accountability. Somebody outside of the business to keep them accountable. And it's not somebody within the business that has a vested interest, because there's a benefit of being outside the pickle jar. I know when you had Jim Kalutis on your show, I think he mentioned that you can't read the label from inside the jar, right?
Yep.
So that's number 1. Number 2 is they need a community of other people that get it, right? And I think, Michael, this is your world, right? Like bringing together they need a community that gets it, because we can all relate. Being an entrepreneur, business owner, that we're sitting at family dinners, or we're sitting and we're hearing about everybody talk about their jobs or complain about their jobs, and we just can't relate. So they need a community or a peer group, and I know this is very similar to what Jim Kalutis said.
Yep.
The power of having a peer group of other people that get it, because you're not alone. The things, Michael, that I hear from owners and leaders in construction is they think that, oh, I'm the only one that can't sleep at night. I'm the only one that makes mistakes. I'm the only one that can't make payroll. No. We all do.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
So that's number 2 is having the community that gets it. And then number 3 is having the tools to get the job done, right? Having the right tools to keep you on the field of play, playing at your peak performance. So I use a sport performance model. And when you think of hockey as, hey, there's an ice surface, there's rules, there's offsides, there's boards. Football, you have a field, you go out of bounds. Yep. The thing with entrepreneurship, there's no field of play and there's no rules. So I don't want to build bureaucracy, and I don't like building cookie cutter, because I don't believe there's one system that fits all. It's got to be personal to the business, but we need to create some structure that will give you freedom to move forward. So those are the 3: the accountability or coaching, the community, peer group, and then the right tools.
Now, my own personal experience, I've worked for some small businesses, and it was funny. I did work for a company one time, and he had a coach, and he had to sit down with he had a business coach and a life coach. And this person was to me just horrible. Just I don't know why he had us talk to coaches. I don't know what he was doing, but even the coach was like, "Yep, he's a great businessman, but not a good business owner."
Right.
Right. And like you said, it was his business. It was like his child. It was like his baby, right? He grew it from nothing to a pretty big company, right? But he had nobody around him. He had no tools to use. He had no operations people. He didn't trust anybody. Have you ever had someone that just didn't get it and then got it?
I think most of the people
Yeah.
do, but most of the people, when they call me, they've gotten to a level of frustration where they don't know what to do. They've got to a place where there's going to be some costs if they don't change. What's the cost of not taking action? And I only work with invite and referral only. It's a very small boutique coaching business.
Good.
So then they're not actually seeking me out. They're going through somebody that's already worked with me, and they're asking them. And then the first call to me is usually like, how do we get started? And it's funny because there's one particular person that called me because another client that they respected. And the first call, I was like, whoa. Like he was ready, had his credit card ready. And I'm like, no, because I strongly believe there has to be a good fit. Like Belichick's a great coach for certain players and not
Right.
for others. I'm not the be all and end all for every single business. So I think there's a self-awareness that they can't keep going and doing what they're doing. And it takes a lot of courage to ask for help. Anybody who says that's a sign of weakness, I strongly disagree. It's a sign of courage that you ask for help. And that first phone call and conversation, sometimes I say, I actually don't think you need me, or there's somebody else better for you.
Wow.
So it's not just the key is asking for help and identifying that you need some outside help.
That's great advice. And then what was the one thing you were going to tell the listeners that they could use right away?
Yeah.
To help.
So the biggest thing that I would say, and this goes for owners and the leadership team especially, and it's not a fun exercise, but it's a powerful one. For 2 weeks, have a pen and paper with you and track what you do every minute of the day. Every minute. If you go on social media for 10 minutes, if you're on a phone call for 45 minutes, if you're in a staff meeting, and keep a record of all of that for 2 weeks. At the end of the 2 weeks is identify, I think the simple, easy way of doing it is identify the activities that you could hire somebody at a certain dollar level. So for me, if I can hire somebody that's better at it than me for less than $50, I will do it. $50 an hour, I should say, or $20 or whatever your metric is. Look at where you're spending your time. Is it moving you closer to your future company, or is it keeping you on the field doing? There's a very popular saying is, are you working in the business or on the business?
I love it.
The business owners that are continuing to grow, it's actually a process of elimination of doing less and focusing more on the high value activities. When you look at your game film for the last, hey, all sports team look at the game film.
Love it.
Look at your game film for the last 2 weeks. Where did you spend your time? Are you playing to your strengths? I'll tell you, I still play beer league hockey. You don't want me playing on defense because I'm terrible at defense, right? Like I can score goals, but you don't want me on defense. But then how many of us in our day-to-day work are playing to our weaknesses? Play to your strengths. But first we got to take a snapshot of where you are now. That's the one thing I would say everybody could do right away.
I think it's great that you use the sports analogy, because I think that's great too. Even on the ABC the membership side, we'll tell members that an ABC membership is like a gym membership. And if I know I pay $30 a month to belong to a local gym. I never go. How come I'm not losing weight? Why am I getting in shape? I pay for the gym every month.
I got the cool card, right?
I do. I got the cool card, right? How come I'm not losing weight? This is ridiculous. My wife goes, well, you're spending $30 a month for the gym, you never go. So the membership at ABC is like the same thing. We tell people, when it comes time to renew, they'll say, no, I'm not going to renew. I didn't get anything out of it. Did you come to an event? Did you meet anybody? Did you network? Were you on the podcast? They go, no, I don't have time for that. And then it's like, well, then you're right. But if you come to an event and you come to a social thing where you can meet some people, and they have a ton here every single year, whether it be an award ceremony or a networking event or a social thing with a golf tournament, spend $500, sponsor, hold a golf tournament. People are going to see your sign. They're going to know who you are, sponsor the podcast. That's it.
It's interesting you say that. I just spoke a couple weeks ago in Hartford at the Snow and Ice Management Association conference. And that's how I led was, if you're here for 3 days, you are already investing into your future business.
Yep.
That tells me 10 things. But if you're always too busy to take that person out to lunch or like you said, the golf tournament or take a course, then we're never going to move the ball down the field.
And I said, when I worked with this person, right, he was paying all this money to these coaches, and the coach was giving him advice and he wasn't taking it because he knew better than the coach. I kept saying, the coach is telling you, like, I want to listen, I want to grow, I want to make the business better, but like I said, you can't read the label from the inside of the jar. I think it's a great analogy.
It comes down to taking action and then reviewing and making adjustments.
Love it. And then one of the things I want to talk about too is that, and this is another random fact about Shawn, that he is the host of the world's #1 online show for people living with diabetes. It's called the Sugar-Free Shawn Show. And I'm honored to be talking to a Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal
It's
winner
on my
of the
shelf
award. Yeah, and it's for his volunteer work in the diabetes community. So love you talk for a few minutes about that.
Sure. Yeah, I live with type 1 diabetes. So there's a big difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. I take insulin. I used to take 8 or 9 injections a day and then test my blood up to 15 times a day. I'm now on an insulin pump. So it's interesting, Mike, because, I wear a pump that is on my belt buckle that gives me life. And I'll never forget, I was on an airplane a few years ago and the guy beside me was staring at this pump on my belt. And I finally said, "Are you curious?" Like I thought, and I told him it's an insulin pump that keeps me alive. I live with type 1 diabetes. And he said, "Oh, that must really suck. Sorry, man." And I'm like, "No, what would really suck is if I didn't have it." Right. So yeah, I've done a lot of work and volunteer with type 1 diabetes. When you see, kids, 4-year-old kids that can't sleep through the night because they have to get their blood checked twice a night. When you see, they can't have the birthday cake at the party, and then mom and dad are worried about them 24/7. Yeah, it's something really close to my heart. And so the Sugar-Free Shawn Show was just kind of a play on words.
I love it.
I'm kind of fun and goofy, and that came out of, I used to speak at type 1 diabetes events, and it was all this doom and gloom, and we're going to lose our limbs and we're going to go blind and our life, like all the doom and gloom. And I thought, what about some hope?
Right.
What about some inspiration? What about all the heroes that are doing amazing things? Ty Domi now of the Maple Leafs, I'll give him he lives with type 1. Kako, who plays for the Rangers, he lives with type 1. There's a couple of players in the NFL with type 1. And so I wanted to bring that hope and inspiration to people living with it and their families.
All right, so this is Shawn Shepheard. He is a coach and business coach, helping out small business, family-owned business. Shawn, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
So the easiest way is LinkedIn. I'm there all the time. So I do a LinkedIn Live every Monday morning, 8:30 a.m. You don't even have to go on camera for it. For everybody else, they can just watch. Shepheard is Shepheard, extra vowel, and Shawn is SHAWN. Website's myname.com. And that's the 2 easiest ways to get a hold of me.
And he's out there. He helps. He's actually helping some companies here in Massachusetts. So he has a presence here in the Commonwealth. So reach out to him if you need any help with your business. But now it comes to everybody's favorite part of the podcast. It may be someone else's 75th, but it's my favorite. We're gonna ask you 10 rapid fire questions. Here we go. The zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are 3 people you want on your team? You can pick anybody you want on your team.
Well, definitely Tom Brady. See, I'm gonna go with that. I probably want Clint Eastwood.
Ooh.
That'd be pretty tough, dude. And I would also want the Hulk, Lou Ferrigno.
All right, so we got Lou Ferrigno, Tom Brady, and Clint Eastwood. That's quite the team. No one's ever
Yeah,
had those
yeah.
three combinations before.
Yeah.
Have you ever been told you look like someone famous, and who was it?
Yes, I have. And my wife will still joke about this. We were on vacation in the Dominican Republic, came out of the pool with my hair all wet back, and somebody thought I was Charlie Sheen. So,
Oh, good for you.
yeah,
All
I don't
right,
know
good
if
for
that's
you.
good or bad, but yeah, true story.
What would be the most surprising scientific discovery imaginable?
Oh, a cure for diabetes. That one's easy for me.
Love it.
Yeah.
That was perfect setup for you. What would your talent be if you were Miss or Mr. World?
Mr. World.
Yeah, what would your
Oh,
talent
it
be?
definitely wouldn't be flexibility. It definitely would not be the bathing suit. I would say I would be the one that is the most well-read. I like reading a lot of books.
Love it, love it. What fictional family would you be a member of? So what make
The
believe family?
Flintstones.
The
Oh,
Flintstones. Oh,
the
no one's ever
Flintstones. I just think it's so cool that you would drive a car with your feet. So yeah.
What fictional world or place would you like to visit?
Oh, that fictional world or place. I think I go to space. I'm not a big science fiction guy, but I'd like to go on a spaceship and probably Star Trek, one of the Enterprise. That'd be cool.
Love it. Let's see here. You a cat or a dog person?
Oh, dog, 100%.
Weirdest food you've ever eaten?
Weirdest food I've ever eaten. I've had cricket powder in a protein shake.
How was that?
Let's just say it was a one-time purchase.
If you could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would it be?
Oh, that is a really good. I see the immediate answer would be San Diego because I love San Diego, California. But if it's anywhere in the world, I'm gonna go somewhere in Asia, like Korea, Thailand, somewhere really exotic that I haven't been.
If you're the host of your own late night talk show, who would your first guest be and why?
Oh, so I would want Ron Burgundy, but Ron Burgundy in character, not just Will Ferrell. That line from Anchorman of I'm kind of a big deal is a running joke here. So
I love it. And then how do you like your coffee?
2 cream, no sugar.
Love it. All right, that's my friend Shawn Shepheard. You'll see in my background, I've got my box of cereal. It's the Brad Marchand Munch. It's called the Marsh Munch.
Michael, the funny thing about that, our friends at Cassidy Paving, when I was there in the winter, bought boxes. Dan at Cassidy Paving bought boxes of March Munch for everybody in the
Did
group.
he really? And then Stop and Shop here in Massachusetts was selling David Pasternak pasta.
I've seen that too.
Yeah.
Hey, they got to make some money off the ice, I guess.
And I've got one of our ABC members, his name is Jim Abbott. He got drafted by the Pittsburgh Penguins right out of high school, I guess. So he played in the minor leagues, and I got a hockey puck signed by Jim Abbott back then. So
that's very cool.
Yeah, he played in the minor leagues a couple of years. He's a great guy. He's a financial guy now for ABC Mass. He's a friend of mine, and I had him. He was in the office yesterday. I had him sign a puck. He goes, I haven't signed anything in 30 years, for God's sakes. Sign my puck.
And you probably made his day too.
I love it. Yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
Great. And so back there, I got my Wade Boggs baseball. I got a Ray Bork autographed golf ball back there. I know you're a Ray Bork fan. Yeah, I bought that. It's an autographed title of 77 golf ball autographed by Ray Bork. So that's what we got going on here. But I appreciate you coming on. Anybody needs to get a hold of you, reach out to Shawn. We'll throw on LinkedIn. We'll throw his information up here on the LinkedIn information. But if anybody has any questions for Shawn, reach out to him. Shawn, you're the best. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, go Bees, and anytime, Michael. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Shawn Shepheard, business coach for family-run businesses. We can definitely, let our folks at Plum House and ProPar know about his services, and they can reach out to him for advice, anything that they need in regard to their business. Coming up for trainings in July, we only have one training. It's Signal Certification and Basic Rigging Safety. That's on July 22nd from 7 to 3:30 at our Woburn office. We're not going to go into August and September. We can do that for next episode. But now for one of our favorites new segments, and I feel like we're always making new segments here. This is what we're about. We have so many ideas. It's the mailbag.
You got
And
mail.
we do get some mail here, so let's have this letter open here. I'm going to open this letter here, and this is from John out of Holbrook, Massachusetts, and he asks, when does the registration open for the school year starting in September? And I'm going to throw it over to Kayla. Kayla, let's answer John's question. When does registration open for back to school?
Yeah, it's a great question. So John out in Holbrook, John, registration opened on June 19th. That was early bird registration for 2 weeks. And now we're into just regular registration. So regular registration is now open. Definitely get in there before all of the seats fill up. There are a lot of classes and specific trades that are filling up fast, and you want to make sure that you get in on that. You can register online. You can go on to gwgci.org, click on the little yellow button that says register today, and you can look through our course catalog and you can register for classes for the fall. Just get in on that, guys.
Yeah, don't wait. Don't wait till August or September, because the classes will fill up awfully quick.
Absolutely. And now for our 25th favorite segment.
We keep adding segments like we're doing. They will be the 25th favorite. This is now the news. This week's weekly update, sponsored by Kenny and Sam's and Patriot Benefit Services. The ABC featured news of the week is from our chairperson Vera Veda-Bancourt, and she has put something in the newsletter that says that ABC Massachusetts has launched Building Mass Careers, which is a 501c3 charitable organization to formalize our workforce development program and help provide our member companies with the qualified workers we also desperately need. If you or your company are looking for some people and you want to reach out to Steve Sullivan to talk about some pre-apprenticeship things he's doing over at Medford Vocational School this summer, you can email steve@abcma.org. Massachusetts Secretary of Labor and Workforce Development Lauren E. Jones spoke to ABC members at a breakfast held on June 27th at the Burlington Marriott. Several members attended. She talked about the administration's plans to increase workforce opportunities in Massachusetts, particularly in technical and vocational occupations such as construction. It was a great event held at the Burlington Marriott, and we want to thank the sponsors of the event, Medford Wellington Service Company, Plumhouse, Erling Construction, and Atlantis Comfort Systems Corporation. Let's see here. We are proud to announce that Carol Fayola has put together an event called the Last Blast of Summer and Associate Members Marketplace, taking place on August 31st from 4 to 7 at the Cove in Fall River, Mass. It's going to be a great event. It's going to be the end of the summer. Again, August 31st from 4 to 7 at the Cove at Fall River. The Building Your Foundation Contractor Fundamentals Seminar Series is taking a bit of a break over the summer. They'll pick back up in September. And if you have not submitted your application yet for the Excellence in Construction Awards, you can do that now. You can reach out to anybody on the ABC Mass team. Proud to announce that Kayla Rodriguez Santiago, she did get promoted to Student Affairs Advisor. Congratulations, Kayla. I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but just came out in the newsletter and made it more official. So congratulations. I know the apprenticeship department, the folks over there miss you a ton because you did so much work for them, but they know you're going to go on and do great things. There is a open house and pictures in there. We had quite a few people attend the open house. The folks from Medford Wellington showed up. We had some members show up. We had some potential students show up and check out our space over in Woburn. So thanks to them. Some member updates in the news. Kaplan Head's list of July member anniversaries, and they've got 44 years to ABC Mass members. So congratulations to them. A milestone anniversary for Charles D. Sheehy Inc. of Avon. They've got 10 years as a member. Winthrop Wealth, same thing, 5 years as a member. So congratulations to them. Nauset completes tenant fit out at 10 Winthrop Square. They've broken the ground on a Natick redevelopment. Congratulations to them. And then friend of the podcast, Patrick Andrews, Senior Vice President of Hospitality at the Haynes Group. They just recently broke ground on a new Mighty Squirrel tap room and brewery in the Boston's Fenway neighborhood. That's pretty exciting. And congratulations to Groom Construction. They're working on the First Baptist Church of Wakefield. They had a fire a couple months back, and they've starting to do that rebuild again. If you want to be on the podcast, reach out to myself, Mike at gwgci.org. And if you want to put something in the newsletter, announcements, anniversaries, employee announcements, things like that, you can email that information to communications@abcma.org. So that puts the finishing touches on episode 80. We're slowly making our way to 100, making our way through the summer. It is hotter than heck here.
We love it though.
We love it. Nope.
I love it.
I'm
I'll
not.
take
I'm
summer
leaving right
over.
now to go jump in my pool, my neighbor's pool across the street. So, if you need me, I'll be in the pool. Hopefully, they've got some Wi-Fi. I can bring a laptop, do some work. Please, we appreciate everybody. Like, tag, share, follow, share with your friends. New episodes come out every week. We'd love to have your company come on with us. So, until next time, see you next week.
See you guys next week.